Hello and welcome to the Retail Corner podcast. I'm Cole. I'm here with Avihai Shnabel, and he is the founder of Onebeat, which is uh, an AI-driven logistics platform, and it's pretty cool. We were talking about it a little bit ago, and I'm kind of happy to have you on the show. How are you today?
Thank you, Cole. Everything is awesome. Very, very nice. It's a nice summer day here in Tel Aviv in Israel.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm in Texas, so it's kind of the same summer, so it's all right.
Probably, yeah. We have a big heat wave going on here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I talked about how it's AI driven and it's logistics and everything else. But can you tell me a little bit about like your background and the experience that you have that you're bringing to the table today?
Yeah, sure, of course. So first of all, I can tell you a few. Maybe I can start with a few words about the company and how I got to this.
Sure.
So it's one that we're in the domain of inventory optimization, and we do what we call in-season optimization. And the thing that we bring to the table is really our ability to identify the demand trends and the behavior of each and every product in the different locations, different stores, and different channels throughout the season. It's a very adaptive system that can read what consumer behavior, what customers are buying, and try to help the retailers to adapt to these signals that we're getting from reality. Now,
Okay.
as for me, I started as a consultant for retailers. This whole company basically didn't start as a regular startup. It's a spin-off of a software that we built inside a consulting company. Ishaim, the co-founder of this company, was actually managing the consulting firm. I used to be a consultant in a different firm, joined him to work with retailers, and then we decided to take a few algorithms that we built there and form a software company out of it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no standard way to do a startup, but that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
You fixed a problem and now you're just kind of putting it out there for the universe, and
Yeah.
so nothing wrong with that. So you talked about consumer data, and you talked about how you're leveraging that for like seasonal stuff. When it comes to consumer data, I'm always a little bit hesitant because what does that mean? Are you studying the consumer? Are you studying the trends? How does that fit in? Because a lot of
Well,
people use the word consumer
it's a
data.
good question because this is also something that we always get from the clients. At the end, when we look at data, we look at aggregated data. I don't know what Cole bought, but I'm looking at the aggregated data of what customers are buying in each and every location. And the way that we look at data is that we break this data into a lot of different attributes. So what do I get from the data? I know that this shirt, this is a style, color, size. I know that it was purchased today in the store in Fifth Avenue. But I know a lot of things about this product. I know it has a lot of attributes in the system. I know the color, the pattern, I know the fit, I know the size, I know whatever. So the way that we look at data is we look at this demand from different dimensions. So I know that someone bought this SKU, but I also know that a lot of people purchase the color blue today. And I know that a lot of people today purchase size medium. And I know that people are buying more slim fit. And by looking at all of this data, what customers are buying in a specific store, specific city, specific area, from all of this, we create correlations between these data points.
Okay.
And from that, we can conclude in a very fast way, what has a better chance, what has a better potential to sell here in this store and maybe in other stores.
That makes sense. So like you have a lot of data. You have a lot of data set and points and everything else like that where you're tracking the trends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big wave of information. Let's talk about one little drop of water. What can you tell me like a time when it made a difference when that kind of tracking kind of had a significant impact?
No, so I have to say it makes a difference all the time because
Of course.
maybe I'll go. Let me share some data with you that we always share with customers and in general. There's a benchmark in the industry that around, if you look at the fashion industry, fashion apparel, so the benchmark says that between 25 to 30% of the inventory is left unsold at the end of the fashion season. Now, out of that, some of it will be sold in deep discounts or will go to liquidation channel, but the assumption is that around, 8 to 10% of the stock will be obsolete, will go to waste or like hard liquidation channel. Now, we know from our data that around 40% of this inventory that is left at the end of the season is not necessarily bad inventory. We differentiate between what we call global tail, which is bad products, the tail of the product, slow movers, and local tail. Local tail means it's a bad product in one area, but it's a very good product in a different area. So what our system is doing is really working on these 40%, and we identify them, and when we rotate them, move them, and bring them to other stores, we see a very big increase at the end in full price sales from these specific products.
Okay.
So these are things that we see all the time.
So once you identify that, like the little 40% or the 13% or whatever it may be, what do you do with it? What's next?
So at the beginning, we just created the algorithm and we were very happy with ourselves. And now I have an algorithm that says that, okay, this is a SKU that has a very low potential to sell here, and that was it. So what we did with it,
data and action are two different things. Yeah,
monetize it and make clients want to pay month after month all over again. So we started to build specific recommendations. So now, because of the algorithms, I know, again, crossing all of the different attributes and the demand patterns of the different categories and products, now I can conclude that this product has a 20% chance to sell in the location that it is at right now. Okay, I see that I have 5 or 6 pieces. My season is about to end in 3 weeks. There's like a 20% chance that I will sell them. But I see other stores where this product is almost out of stock and it has like an 80 or 90% chance to sell. So what we are doing is we're creating these recommendations for trips of how you can move and rotate your inventory, move it from one store where it has a very low potential to sell to other stores where it has a very high potential to sell. So in a way, this also helps us to consolidate all of the broken sets that you have towards the end of the season. When you work,
So everybody loves to hear about the system going right.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when the system? Are there any pitfalls or any sort of like things that you have learned from, any lessons learned that you can specifically speak to, like not necessarily mistakes you've made, because nobody likes to admit those, but
I have a few. Yeah,
just have a few. Something that you could prevent somebody else from making a mistake. Like what would you look out for?
So think about it.
Any sort of potential pitfall, when you're collecting all this data, when you're using all this data, that kind of thing.
So what you have to avoid, and this is a place where our algorithm grew over time, is the whole idea. What we preach about, we call it short-term predictions. How to take short-term data. Okay, I don't care what happened last season. I also don't care what happened in the beginning of the season if it was a month and a half ago. I'm trying to learn all the time from the last week or 2 weeks what will happen in the next week. And we have a system that is very adaptive. Okay, even if I make a mistake, it will try to correct it. But of course, when you look at short term, there sometimes, of course, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Okay, you can have a grandmother that went into the store and she decided to buy the same hat in 6 different sizes for all of her grandchildren. And now when you look at it from our algorithm, and at the beginning, when you looked at it from our perspective, it looked like, the best seller. Now you have to overpopulate the store with, heads in pink because this is what she bought. So with time, we learn how to create a lot of exceptions in the system that will identify what is really a signal and what is noise. And I think this is today one of the strongest point of our algorithm, how to differentiate between what is a signal that we see in the data and what is just noise that we need to ignore.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, you can't live your life by the things that are aberrant, kind of thing, outside the curve. And so, yeah, was there anything like that you've been surprised by? Anything surprising that when you've collected all this data that you didn't expect?
So, I mean, to be honest, I mean, this is not something we don't really collect and analyze the specific data of a specific client.
Sure.
This is more like, I mean, at the end, this is a solution that is helping our clients achieve better results. So I don't know if I have a good answer for that.
Fair enough. So as you're looking at all these trends and everything else like that, is there a trend that surprised you? Is there a trend that surprised one of your clients, maybe?
Yeah. So a lot of times we see specific categories, or we see specific products that are behaving very, very good in some areas of the business, and are behaving differently in a different area. And I think one of the things that we always like, that we enjoy in a way showing to our clients, is that the fact that the product is a bestseller, good product, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will behave the same in all of the different stores. And one of the things that they're usually looking for, and I have to say that I know that there are a lot of solutions that are trying to do that, is always trying to look at the why. Okay, why a product is a bestseller in 98% of the stores, and in 2% of the stores it is not selling, and they're trying to fix it. But in a way, we're coming from the other direction, because I'm saying the why is not necessarily important. What is important is to make sure how you supply the right products into the right stores. Because when you go and analyze it a lot of times, you see, I mean, sometimes you'll find like the normal situations, like the normal answers, meaning you see that it's different competition. You have a different competition in front of you, and they're selling similar products. So the people that are going into this specific store will not buy them, or because of the population that is going to this mall or whatever. But in other cases, it can be something as silly as the sales representative in the store, and she really likes yellow, and she convinced all of the people, all of the guys that are going into the store, that they should buy a yellow shirt.
Yeah, I mean, a buddy of mine works for a fast fashion retailer, and yeah, they were seeing a weird pattern, and they had to deconstruct it and look at it a little bit, and they realized that the Taylor Swift concerts were as big as prom. They were huge events, and so they were seeing that sales spike right before the concert. And yeah. I mean, whether it be that or the Barbie movie or whatever else is driving fashion right now is sometimes tough to figure out. So.
It is. So I mean, and this is where we're coming from, because when you try to analyze and predict everything, at the end it's impossible. Okay, I mean, it's impossible to be always right. So what we're trying to do is we're really trying to read from the data where the data behaves a little bit different, and try to react very fast. So if I see that from some reason, now this is a store that maybe this is the reason the store is very close to the cinema, and now because of Barbie everybody's buying pink. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I will make sure, because of the data, I will make sure that I'm populating this specific store with pink stuff. So these things will, in a way, will become automatic.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So when you were talking about consumer data and trend data and everything else like that, I love that you said we don't track this specific person. We don't track Cole in a store, and so it's all considered anonymous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so when it's all collected and everything else, it becomes completely anonymous. And is there any sort of privacy concerns with that collection of demographic information?
So no, I mean we work according to very strict rules of privacy, and I have to say that because of the fact that we don't save any type of data that is related to a specific customer. I don't even have customer data in my system, so it's a non-issue. I'll tell you what is an issue sometimes. We use data from different chains and we collect everything in one data lake, where the idea is to also help in help adjusting our algorithms and our AI to look at data that is more broad. Meaning, but of course, again, I will not go to, it's not like I will have data from American Eagle and I will tell Macy's that this is what they're selling.
Okay.
But I will collect aggregated data that is, everything is very granular based on attributes. So now, I mean, in my system, in my data lake, I will know that in the southern part of Texas, people from different chains are buying this season shirts, that are, I don't know, blue shirts with specific patterns and specific fits and whatever.
Sure. Okay. That makes me feel a little better when I go in and out of stores and everything else like that. So everybody talks about AI. I've got an uncle that's convinced we're 10 years away from Terminator, where their machines are going to take over and everything. And so, how does AI and how does your little corner of the universe, when it comes to trend tracking and using that, how do you think that's going to change over the next few years?
So first of all, I don't think that machines are going to take over the world in the next 10 years. I'm with you on that. But I think that one of the things that we're using a lot of machine learning algorithms that are helping our algorithm to adjust itself. Because again, we're working with retailers, we're working with people that are professionals in what they do. And at the end, I mean, we're a recommendation system, and we give a lot of recommendations. And I mean, I would hope that in 80-90% of the chances, the cases, that they will accept these recommendations, but a lot of times they deny these recommendations. And the idea of our machine learning is to try and understand all the time, to try to find patterns in all of these recommendations that the user is rejecting, and try to understand if there's some common ground. Why are they rejecting these kinds of recommendations? And the algorithm, in a way, is getting better and better over time and making less mistakes. So, in a way, I feel that the way that we are using, and I have also a lot of criticism regarding AI in many different things.
Sure.
But I think that where we're using it is really benefiting the algorithm, which is eventually also benefiting our customers in doing better decisions and better choices to their business.
Awesome. So you heard it here. The robots will not attack. That's good.
Yeah. I think you're safe. You can go out of your house. Everything is okay.
Okay. I feel better now. So the last question we usually ask people is, if you had some advice on somebody that was just starting out and wanted to be in your field, what would it be?
In my field, like in startup or
in consulting or startup, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever advice you'd go back and give yourself.
So if I would go to startups and people with great ideas, so I would always go look at the market first and not in the technology. Meaning that I think in today's world, good products are, in a way, it's like commodity. It's very easy, in a way, to create very good products. You have a lot of brilliant engineers and brilliant people all over the world. But I think where most startup fails eventually is in the go-to-market, because they create very, very sophisticated products that are not necessarily adopted by the by the users, but the people from the industry. And I think we were lucky to come from the industry. I'm first business oriented, and way after a technology person.
Right.
And I think that because we really understand our business and we understand our customers, we were able to build a product that really generates value for them. Okay, it doesn't generate good data because I think that this data is mind blowing and very interesting. It generates the right kind of data that helps them do their day-to-day activities better and eventually contributes to the bottom line of the company.
So that's a great answer. And I want to thank you for coming on Retail Corner and speaking with us about it, reassuring us about the robots in our future. And hopefully they can guide our trends a little bit. If you guys have any questions about Onebeat, any questions about trends, all of Avi's information will be linked below. And I'll see you next time.
Very cool. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you would like to be featured on our podcast, please email us at podcast@retailcorner.live or visit our website, retailcorner.live. Looking forward to having you as our guest on our podcast, and thank you so much for listening.